Hey everyone! Today we're diving into the two main categories of machine learning, supervised and unsupervised learning. Think of supervised learning like learning with a teacher who gives you the answers, while unsupervised learning is like exploring data on your own to discover hidden patterns. Understanding the difference between these two is crucial because they solve completely different types of problems. Whether you're predicting house prices or grouping customers, choosing the right approach makes all the difference. Let's break this down step by step. Let's start with supervised learning and see how data flows through the system. First, you feed labeled training data into your machine learning model. This data contains both inputs and their correct outputs. The model goes through a training process where it learns the relationship between inputs and outputs. Once trained, the model has learned patterns it can use for predictions. When you give it new input data it's never seen before, it uses those learned patterns to predict the output. It's like teaching a student with example problems and answers, then testing them on new problems. Supervised learning splits into two main types based on what you're predicting. Regression is when your output is a continuous numerical value, like predicting a house will sell for exactly $245,000. Classification is when you're predicting categories, like deciding if an email is spam or not spam. Think of regression as drawing a line through data points, while classification is drawing boundaries between different groups. Each type has its own set of algorithms optimized for that specific task, and choosing the right one depends on your problem and data characteristics. Let me show you a simple supervised learning example in Python using scikit-learn. We're creating a linear regression model with training data where x is our input and y is our output. Notice the pattern here is y equals 2 times x. We create the model, then call fit to train it on our data. Now here's the magic: when we predict what happens when x is 5, the model correctly outputs 10 because it learned the relationship. This same concept applies whether you're predicting simple patterns like this or complex things like housing prices with dozens of features. Now let's look at unsupervised learning, where we don't have labels and the model must find patterns on its own. Here's a clustering example using k-means. We have customer data with just coordinates, no labels telling us which group they belong to. We tell the algorithm we want 2 clusters, and it automatically discovers that the first 2 customers are similar and the last 2 are similar. This is incredibly powerful for things like customer segmentation where you don't know the groups ahead of time. The algorithm found natural groupings in the data without any supervision. So to sum it all up, supervised learning is your go-to when you have labeled data and want to make predictions. It's perfect for problems where you know what you're looking for. Unsupervised learning shines when you're exploring data without labels, letting the algorithm discover patterns you might not even know exist. In the real world, supervised learning powers things like spam filters and self-driving cars, while unsupervised learning helps companies segment customers and detect unusual behavior. Now you understand the fundamental difference between these two approaches. Choose supervised when you want to predict, and unsupervised when you want to explore.